Blessed love, blessed love, blessed love. His time is up, community. His time is up, family. Welcome once again to Afua Speaks with Community Conversations. And we've got a really packed evening for you tonight. It has been an absolutely monumental and eventful week. That's what's going on. So as usual, we're going to wait for the community to gather as they do, as they always do. And we're going to keep it moving. Yes, my brothers and sisters, just to make sure my moderators are in. Big up Lioness. Big up SP. Hopefully All About the Black will join us in a bit. We should have an extra moderator tonight if she's here. But we got two to work with. Community is gathering. Yes, my brothers and sisters. Oh, All About the Black. I see you. Yeah, we're here. We're here. Hopefully Rima can join us. Because, yeah, let's hope that there isn't any unruliness going on tonight. But if there is, my brothers and sisters, we will deal with it because we're well and truly armed. We're in the living room tonight. Why? Because we're chilled. We are chilled and we're not sleeping. You know, we're up. I thought I would make the background appropriate for the proceedings, so to speak. So, yes, the community is now gathered. Welcome once again, as I said, my brothers and sisters. Why have I got a coy little look on my face? Why do I have a smile on my face, brothers and sisters? The reason being, as you probably all have seen on Instagram, is that we have had quite a significant victory today. It's a really interesting situation that's been going on. And it's, you know, it's my situation. Big up, Rima. You're here. That's our extra moderator. Everybody give a warm hand to Rima Truth, who is our extra moderator tonight. Wonderful. So, yeah, you know, it is an experience that I have been subjected to. It is my story about what's been going on in the last few weeks. But really, I don't want to make it about me, although we've been going through it. And I didn't go through that alone. I will say to people that what we didn't want to do was put out the court date and bring a big his time is up crowd down to the court and so on and so forth. We didn't want to actually do that. Why? Because we didn't want to attract all the wrong type of dross, if you like. You understand? We didn't want that. It's not that kind of party. So what we thought we would do was contact individual diehard supporters, those who attended the march and some others. And they were the people that were in attendance with us. So we came strong. We were represented. The campaign was represented. We laid down our argument and the judge agreed with us. So it really has set a precedence. I think if it had swung the other way, it would have also set a precedence. And, you know, it doesn't mean, even if the other parties had been successful in trying to get a gagging order on us about talking about these issues, it wouldn't have made a difference to the truth of what is going on, and we would have found other ways and other entities. We had contingency plans in the event of that actually happening. But before we really get into the meat and potatoes of that, we've got two items tonight, so to speak. So I want to kind of debrief and update and talk a little bit about what's been happening, give a little bit more detail that I didn't give last week in relation to these court proceedings and the police proceedings and what have you. And then we are going to hear from a beautiful brother, a wonderful brother, who in essentially is going to be the first ever His Time Is Up male survivor to share their story. So we're going to hear from him a little bit later on. But in the meantime, let's talk about it. The team were there. As I say, we had about, I think, 12 or 13 supporters from various sections. And the energy was beautiful. It had a very similar energy when we were all together as the energy that we had on Windrush Square on the 16th of October last year. And I just know, my brothers and sisters, that this movement, I've been saying it from the beginning. I know the way it started in terms of the meditations and the prayers I put down for myself when I decided to put out the video on Vincent Rapp, because I'm very aware of the elements that I'm dealing with. I'm very, very aware of the elements that I'm dealing with. So therefore, you know, I really did go into prayer and supplication to ask if this was the right thing for me to do. And at every turn, you know, when I've had to do that, the answer comes back unequivocal. Yes, of course. Because our community has suffered for too long, and the sisters in the community have never, never, never had a voice. Yeah, we've been over it lots and lots of times in terms of how this thing plays out. You know, we were talking historically how this thing plays out. If you remember going back to the Vincent Wright story, when the mother of the goddaughter for Vincent's wife's goddaughter's mother was telling the story of what happened to the goddaughter with the bloodied sheets and all of that stuff, and what Valerie actually did and hid, you know. But if you cast your minds back, what she was describing was the complete ostracization by the Brixton community of a 16-year-old. Sorry, what am I talking? 16-year-old. She was 14. Of a 14-year-old that had been groomed at best to sleep with Rat, and raped at worst to sleep with Rat. But the community ostracized that girl, including Vincent Rat's wife. And we haven't moved on. We haven't moved on, brothers and sisters, from 30 years ago, from 100 years ago, or 400 years ago. More significantly, we have not moved on from 400 years ago, my brothers and sisters. We have the same mindset, the same victim blaming. Because can you imagine on the plantation when a young girl of 11 or 12 would come back and complain to the slave community when she'd come from the house that Massa had raped her? She would have been boxed up in her face, probably warned and really, really ostracized by that community, including her parents, to keep her mouth shut. Yeah, and maybe she wasn't even believed. That's what it became after that, you know, and we've never ever let go of that. The level of victim blaming, as I said, and going in on the messenger, the default position that is always, we don't believe the girl, you know, prove it, prove the man did that, as if men are not capable of doing that, you know. It'll be really interesting, I think, to examine what will happen when we start to raise the stakes and start talking about female perpetrators. It'll be really interesting to see what the backlash will be then. I think it might be very similar. I was watching a clip that somebody sent me of a boy that had been speaking out against some things that had happened in his family. But actually, it wasn't even about a female in his family. It was about being abused by men around the females, but they had the same reaction. But it would be very interesting to see if a woman actually gets accused in the ways that we've heard all of these men be accused, and see what the community response to that would be. That would be really interesting. And I am also very interested in hearing from people that have been abused by women, whether that is female or male, that have been abused by women, because it seems to be, I'm not so sure so much on the rise, but more recognized. You know, it's probably always been there. Yes, big up all the regulars in the place tonight. Double D, Militant. Yes, I see you. So, you know, I just want to kind of just chop that up a little bit. Because what we've been subjected to ever since we talked about the details of what happened within the family who brought me to court. Ever since we did that, it has been a ferocious campaign of harassment. The very thing that I've been accused of, which the court didn't necessarily agree with at all, not in the interim anyway, is the very thing that I've been subjected to. And what I can say to you as well is that I felt the proceedings were very fair. I felt that the judge was balanced, and there was no sort of biased one way or the other. And I also felt that he was able to see right through what was going on. Because one of the significant things that he said was, why was it that you had not brought a defamation case straight away? Which is kind of what I was saying on the lives, on last week's live, definitely. You know, I was saying, you know, how does this make sense? It's definitely not harassment. There's no sustained campaign of me ringing you up and in your DMs and calling you and making sure that people go around and smash up your shop or whatever it is. None of that was happening. We proved and showed that we are a bona fide campaign. That's what happened. We proved and showed that we are a bona fide campaign, that we're not just here on Instagram calling people out, and seeing, we're just not here for that. We're absolutely not here for that. We have got serious work going on in the background. When people ask for these receipts, when they ask for these receipts, and I say to them, well, you will never see it. I will reserve that for the courts and the police when the time is right. Well, the courts certainly saw our receipts in terms of what we know, in terms of who we're linked into, in terms of the sort of work we're trying to do and how we're trying to move things forward. The court was very, very satisfied with that. Yeah. Otherwise, it would never have ruled in our favor. So we have our receipts. Yeah. We have our receipts. I also want to say a big up to all the brothers and sisters that turned out on Wednesday. Your energy, your spirit, your commitment, your belief humbled me, I swear. And it's, you guys say, oh, I feel you're so strong and whatever, but how could I be without the energy that comes back from the works, and I know that I'm doing the right thing. So at the end of the day, I want to say a big up. I want everybody to put up a love heart emoji or something in the chats for all the supporters that came and dedicated themselves to that day. People had to move their stuff around and make space and time for that. And I truly appreciate that. I will never take that for granted, because I know how it is in the fire. I know how it is in Babylon. It's not always easy to put your undivided attention onto something. So thank you. And for all those that couldn't come, also for all those that couldn't come, for everybody that donated, for everybody that really rallied behind the cause, I want to just say a humble, his time is up. Thank you to everybody. In fact, while it's still in my mind, let me get to the fundraising. Let me break it down, because we've had the trolls as usual. They're busy making loads and loads of fake Instagram accounts and trying to get my followers away from me. And it's actually, my followers have increased because of it. So I just find it really interesting. I know that at least one of the Clark family are involved in that, because I've seen them on the page and doing whatever they're doing. So, and they've actually blocked me. I've used my daughter's phone to get onto a few of them and see what's happening. And it's pathetic. They reckon I've defrauded a charity. Well, which charity? Bring it, come, show me. Get the police involved, do what you have to do. We're doing what we have to do. Doesn't matter what you say, doesn't matter what you do, doesn't matter how much slander you spread. The more you push is the deeper it will get. So yeah, back to the judge. The judge was sort of puzzled. And I'm paraphrasing, not verbatim, but he said something along the lines of, why did you not bring a defamation case instead of an injunction under the Harassment Act? Because it doesn't meet the threshold. It's quite unusual, actually, is what he was trying to say. And he also said, one has to kind of wonder if it's the truth in a defamation case that you're trying to sort of get away from. Now, as I say, that was not his exact words, but he was pretty much saying that. And that was just so interesting, because that's what we were saying. Bring a defamation case, then we can prove if it's true or untrue. But instead, you've gone for a really flimsy harassment case, tried to put an injunction under that, which is essentially a gagging order just to shut me up. I don't understand. In terms of a defamation case, and the judge also intimated that the other parties might want to change their position, intimated it. But in terms of defamation, it's a very long, arduous, expensive process. Very long. This is why it's mostly people who are extremely wealthy, like multimillionaires, who are suing newspapers, like Meghan and Harry, who kind of bring these cases. It goes on forever. To even get to a court date, it takes years. Very, very expensive. Now, as Jean Cray said, they have the money and they got the time. Okay, if that's what you want to do. But at the end of the day, we, as I said, have the faith and we have the time. And as was seen at the High Court on Wednesday, we also have the receipts, as you like to call it. So that's kind of what went down. We came out victorious. I just find it very interesting. And I think also what we really need to look at, and to send a message to all those that have threatened it and want to try it and whatever else, the court recognized that what we are doing here does not meet the threshold for harassment. That's why the injunction was not granted. It doesn't meet the threshold for harassment. We're not harassing anybody. We put up a post to attract victims, extra victims. So many of these, in fact, practically all of the cases that we discuss are historic. So the only way to get victims forward, as I've said so many times, is to ensure that we have some kind of presence about what has happened or what has been alleged, okay? And then how are we going to do that? With a name, with a picture, with a discussion. And as I said in the last couple of lives, guaranteed at that point, we will get people coming forward, telling similar stories. And I don't always put out the full story at that first point. You know, I leave details out so that when people do come forward, I can match that against what I've originally been told. You understand? If I'm buffering, it's because my internet's playing up tonight. It actually went off just before the live. I was thinking, no, we need to go on at 9, and it came back. So hopefully it will sort itself out and it's not too bad. So yeah, and the other great thing as well about a defamation case is not just being able to present the truth and show the sources and victims and witnesses and whatever, you know, the whole thing is public in a defamation case. The whole proceedings is public in a defamation case. So therefore, I would be able to live tweet from the court. We could bring in as much press as we need. They will be able to give you daily stories and what have you. So all the business and all the dirty laundry and everything else, whether the end result is proven or not proven, it would still be a very public display of these issues and these circumstances, you know. I would reconsider that. I don't have too much to lose in those circumstances, but at the end of the day, it isn't really me, is it? Defamation against me even is flimsy, because one of the things with defamation law is that if the person putting the information out there for journalistic purposes or for public safety or whatever they're putting it out there for, if they truly believe that these allegations are true, then they have what you call fair comment and freedom of speech, which is what we argued our case. I argued the case under Article 10 of the Human Rights Act, which is freedom of speech and expression. You know, that's what happened. So that's kind of it, my brothers and sisters. You know, that's it was just so interesting. It was so interesting. I actually want, before we get to the second element tonight, I actually want to put the link out so that we I want to put the link out. Let's see if it goes in straight away. In case anybody wants to try and sort of come on and comment, link's not there. Try and comment or have a conversation with what, how they view the thing, you know, how they view the proceedings, basically. I'm going to put it out just for a few minutes. We're not going to spend too much time on that. It's there in the chat. Moderators can do it as well. Let's do it. If anyone wants to jump on at this stage and talk about, you know, their view or their experience of even being there and so on, please jump on the link. But it was just interesting. It was interesting. You know, none of us were intimidated. We knew the truth that we stood on. And the truth really is the truth of the platform. When you have allegations, we're not saying that they are true. We're saying we believe the victim. That's what we're saying. The truth has to be borne out in a court of law. We understand that. Yeah. But what we also understand that even when you get to a court of law with the truth, it doesn't always balance as the truth, because there is a threshold for evidence and it relies on that, you know, and that's always what has stopped victims from getting justice, you know. So at some point that needs to be rethought, even by the authorities, you know, and that's some of the campaigning that we'll probably be doing going forward, you know. That's probably what it is. We didn't make enough money to get a barrister, but it's in the pot. And if they bring a defamation case, then at least we can start to fundraise again, or maybe we can continue fundraising and try to reach that threshold in anticipation of it. And any money that isn't used for legal counsel will be put into the campaign, and we can kick off our projects a hell of a lot faster if that's the case. You know, the GoFundMe was set up 8 months ago. At the time of the march, it raised, it sat there actually with quite not very much in it until the march came up, and then people started donating. And I think we raised just short of £1,000. It was probably about 800 quid or something like that, from what I can remember at that time. No, sorry, it was over that. What am I talking about? It was over 1,000. We reached the mark. And much of that was taken up in going towards the march. And it wasn't kind of made at once. As I said, it was a sort of slow trickle that built up to that. So realistically, it probably was just about £700 or £800 for the march itself. Since then, the odd bit here and there, and now we had this sort of drive. So we actually raised last week about 270 quid. Yeah, that's how much we raised last week. So as I say, that's in the pot. That will stay in the pot. And if we don't use it for legal defense or anything, then it's going to go into the helpline. Where I was planning anyway, for those of you who know, you know, to start to train up some of the volunteers for the helpline and actually start re-recruiting for the helpline as well, and train those up too. I was willing to do that from my own pocket. But now we have 300 quid. And also a private donation that is just a little bit over that as well, that is in reserve for those projects, or legal advice if it's so needed going forward. That's a private anonymous donation. That person wishes to remain anonymous. So that's where we're at with the housekeeping. And for the trolls who want to say that I'm thieving people's money and I'm the popo came for me and I'm looking £4,000 for legal defense and whatever. We didn't get it, and I went and defended myself. That's it. It would have been nice to have a barrister. It would have been less hard work. But at the end of the day, if we are going to start a movement and we are going to make changes to the system, to mindsets, all of that takes money. Now, I've waved the flag. I've sounded the trumpet. What? Will they expect me to pay for it too? We have to do this as a collective. I've been putting in my time and change. Do you understand? Now, if we're saying we are a proper, we're a proper organization, then we fundraise. Why? Because we're Garveyites. I could easily go and get funding from the big lottery fund or do something like that and keep the thing moving and let it happen. But as I said, I am a Pan-Africanist. I prefer that we do this ourselves. I'm going to start to lobby black businesses. Denise Bell, you don't have a pot to piss in. That's not actually true, Denise Bell. I'm just not going to take my children's pot, okay, and put into this stuff in terms of trying to fight people that have more money than sense. We raise money for things like that. We don't use our own personal funds. That's just nonsensical. Now, at the end of the day, if I was really forced to and I was in a corner and I was going to go to prison or something, then yes, I'd have to. But at the end of the day, this is about the campaign. This is about the victims that have spoken out. This is about the message that I put out and the people that listen to that message and have promoted that message. We are doing this together. That's what's happening, Denise, whoever. I hope you don't look like BT, ET, extraterrestrial person, because that's your profile picture. Very interesting. Anyway, couple of trolls on tonight, obviously, but I know the moderators will deal with them at the end of the day. And, you know, look, this is a very serious conversation, actually, because this is the reason I believe that mindset that we have. Yeah. This is the reason why we don't seem to be getting ahead very quickly in this country, in Black Britain. When you look at America, when Americans, black or white, like a cause and they believe in a cause, they back it. It's just no questions asked. They fund it. Yeah. The same in Africa. I've seen that. The same in the Caribbean. What is it that is wrong with us in this country? Why does every other community come and pass us? You know why? Because we do not want to organize and rally behind our causes. We'd much rather spend our money being fabulous, driving lovely cars, nails, hair, weaves, whatever, dance, luncheons. I don't know. But at the end of the day, no one's saying you can't do that. Everyone wants to enjoy their life and their hard work. But at the end of the day, you know, back your causes. If you say you're behind a cause, back it. And that's what it is. It all takes funding. How are we supposed to set up a hotline? How are we supposed to set up our pool of counsellors if we're not going to pay them? And we're not expecting victims to pay them or survivors to pay them. We want to be able to do that, you know? And if there wasn't anything going on behind the scenes, then we wouldn't have had anything to present to the judge. How about that? You know, how about that? We will be, Queen Bee, taking in volunteers again. We had one wave already, and we're going to start re-recruiting again for that at some stage. It's been a long, arduous process, and I apologize to those that feel they've had to wait with no news and what's going on. But this is coming from the ground up. You know, any decent company worth its salt, there's usually about a year at least of planning that goes into that before they launch into whatever services they're going to offer and do. This has all happened organically. We didn't start off with the His Time Is Up campaign. That came later. We started off with a heartfelt plea to the women in our community to speak out, you know, because of one man. And that one man became many from the community telling us their stories. And then we started to organize and recognize that there was a need for us to be more structured and to actually bring this to where we need to go. And let us not forget what the end goal is. The end goal is imprisonment for whoever needs to be imprisoned, and a national inquiry, an independent inquiry, because there's a lot to be answered in these proceedings, my brothers and sisters. From the time we started, the things that have been uncovered, many of which I do not share with you. You know, you guys really only get a very small chunk of each individual case and what's really going on behind the scenes. You understand? It's always dependent on what that victim wants to do. Some just want to tell the story and go back to their lives. You know, many of them. Some actually take it a step further and find that courage to now make a police report or rehash an old one, you know. But whatever they're doing, we stay in touch, we try to support, and we do what we have to do. You know, I've carried caseloads of 70, in excess of 70 plus in my time. Very, very hard work and hard to keep track of and keep in touch with everyone. And this is like treble that in terms of attention and focus that it needs, you know. I'm going to be honest, and I like to be transparent, as you guys know. I received a very hurtful criticism from a victim who I'd spoken to, and that victim's problem, I think, is that I hadn't been in touch with them after the fact. I had been at first, after they told their stories and they'd shared and whatever, and then I got really, really busy, and that was kind of from Tanzania days. So I had a lot more time on my hands. You know, things are less pressurized there. And there's a lot less coming at you. And God knows, from the time I set foot back on British soil, there's been a lot coming at me. So I just want to say to anyone else that might be feeling that way, that it isn't personal. I am one person. I have children. I have grandchildren. I have a life. I've got a lot of responsibilities that I don't talk about. I don't go into. You know, there are times when I really don't need to be doing this live on this day because I've got so much else going on in the background, but I'm dedicated to it and I'm not complaining. I'm just kind of trying to give you an inside coup, if you like, you know. And every time I want to focus down on victims, on exposés, on trying to keep the community safe from people that are hiding in plain sight, they seem to want to try to take me off track with proceedings, with lies and trolling. And it's hard work, my brothers and sisters. It is stressful. Yeah, my children are not happy. My adult children are not happy that I'm doing this. Actually, one of them kind of gets it. But my oldest daughter isn't happy. She wants me to stop. She's like, give it to someone else. You've done enough, you know? And other members of my family, they're not happy. I didn't actually even share with you guys the fallout after I told my story on Instagram. I didn't share with you the fallout, how it was for me, because it was a fallout. So there's lots that go on in the background. And I just say, look, I do catch up eventually. Even if it's 3 months later, I will try to call you. There's people that leave me DMs, and 3 months later they get a call and they go, oh, I didn't think you'd call me. I left that months ago. And I'll say to them, no, I will make sure that every so often I do an audit of all my DMs and all whatever in case I've missed anything, because a big story comes in. When I say a big story, a story of somebody well known, and it always generates a lot of distraction when it's like that. So one of those stories will come in, and then it takes away from some of the others. But please, you are always on my mind, and I'm forever going back on myself. I'm too nuff. Who is this Denise Bell? Can you not deal with this person, please? Because I bet you do favour 80. Yes, you're too nuff. I've been told that my entire life. I'm too nuff. But guess what? You gotta be too nuff to make change. You see, if any Malcolm X or any of these greats that made changes in our communities were shrinking violets or the retiring types, and they weren't nuff with their thing, we would be nowhere. We'd be still in chains on the plantation, Denise Bell, whoever you are. Probably not your real name. We're ready for it tonight, I haven't had a joust with you people in the comments for a while, you trolls, at the end of the day. Every single thing that you come with, every single thing that you accuse me of, it falls down. All you can do is run up your mouths and have nothing more to say apart from idiotic, infantile playground comments. That's what you're good for. Yeah, I wish what's his name was still on YouTube. What's the name again? I always forget this fool's name. Truths and Rights. I wish he was still on YouTube, because I'd love to see what he had to say about these proceedings. The only thing they can say, oh, she's an agent. She works with the Illuminati. It's outrageous. Outrageous. Bottom line is that a judge from the High Court saw our receipts, saw how we're going about our things, and did not grant an injunction on the back of that. Okay? That's what happened. It's not like the people that never fought their corner and tried to fight their case and tried to put forward what they had to put forward. We put forward what we had to put forward, and it was legitimized in the High Court. So shut your mouths. Okay. Someone says, are you too enough, or are they just basic and crave your energy? This is the thing, isn't it? Energy vampires. Sean says historical evidence is harder to produce than from more recent events. Technology was different, information keeping was different, and it was not near say. Hold a seat or leave the room. Oh, Milan, Paris. You know why they're back? Hear why they're back, my brothers and sisters. Because today, when I was on I was on YouTube, sort of playing with a few things and adding a new moderator, and I saw that I'd actually blocked some people. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to let them back in. So I only took a couple of people off. Milan Paris was one of them. and here you go again. So, I can remember, like, there was a time when they used to crowd up in the place and really distract the people that were telling their stories and just be generally nasty and disrespectful. I remember that, and I blocked all of them, and the channel got cleaner. But today I thought, no, let them in. Let me hear what they got to say for themselves. And you lot are still with the same tired ass argument. Can you remember the things they used to say? It's all been disproved. Sit down. Sit your backside down. It's as simple as that. Yeah? Milan Paris. Fool. We don't need to prove ourselves here, my brothers and sisters. We really, really don't. But yeah, that's the spirit of things. Yeah, I think I should take a few minutes to gloat, especially after these people like Milan Paris, and I think I did let back in the next one. I didn't see Bricky, what's his face? What's that? Not Bricky Mindset. He still comes. There's another one that was Brixton something. Didn't even see them. Maybe they've just dropped off altogether. But yeah, I thought I'd have a bit of fun with you all, because your thing is just lost total substance. It never had any in the first place anyway, at the end of the day. Many of you were there rubbing your hands, trying to see these victims silenced, trying to shut everybody up, you know. Totally, totally disrespectful. Totally disrespectful, my brothers and sisters. So nobody's going to come on and comment. Put the post in one more time. I thought maybe even one of the attendees, one of the supporters would have maybe come on and say something. I'm putting it one more time, and then I'm going to introduce our guest. Yeah, victory was sweet in that regard. I will say we're not at the end of the proceedings. I think it would be very foolish for them to try to pursue this harassment thing. Very foolish. But you know, it is what it is. Let's just see what happens, because for me, that would just be a wrong move. And as I say, if it's defamation that people want, then let's do defamation then. They indicated that they are going to go for defamation. So let's see if that happens. As I say, it's going to be a very public affair, and something that I'm sure they would rather avoid. The court also accepted that the only reason that they've been still being spoken about in any regard is the fact that these proceedings are happening. Because I explained to the court that what usually happens is that we do a call out, there's a backlash, maybe a couple of days, a couple of more weeks from the backlash, as opposed to really going back to what happened. Yeah, and then it kind of dies away, and we work in the background and bring the next story on. And that's exactly what would have happened with these people. But no, they wanted to, to keep themselves in the limelight. It would seem. It would seem. It would seem. So we're just waiting for our guest to come on. I'm just reading these comments. I'm not even going to answer these people. The only thing they can resort to is high school stuff. Not even high school, primary school stuff. This woman's telling me I look like a lesbian. You look like ET from your picture. Why don't you come on and show us what you really look like? Your profile picture, Denise Bell, is ET. And you're telling me I look awful. You look like ET at the moment until you show us your face. Honestly. Let's keep it clean, my brothers and sisters, because I really ain't got time for this stupidness. I don't have time for them and their stupidness. Waiting for you. So this brother here, his name's Jay. Let's hope he gets on. Sometimes I think these links can be a bit tricky. His name is Jay. We'll call him Jay, and that is his name, actually. Now, we're not going to be exposing names tonight, because brother's not in a place where he wants to actually do that at the moment. But he's been sharing his story on his own platform. He's in a place where he really, really needs to out that and talk about it, and I just thought that it would be a really good idea for him to share his story live. He was definitely up for it. As I say, he's been sharing his story, and he really wants to touch a lot of other men and encourage them to come forward. So yeah, the brother is a beautiful brother, so lovely and respectful. I just felt instant kind of maternal instincts towards him when we met. When we met, and when we met as well. And when I first spoke to him, there was an instant sort of maternal thing, He's just a very, very nice boy. I say boy, but that's because I'm old and old enough to be his mother. So he's not a boy, he's very much a man. And I wonder if you're having any problems. Give me a moment, my brothers and sisters. I'm going to see if he's able to get on the link, because I know he's seen that it's his time to come on. And let's see where he is right now. I know the link can be a little bit strange. Right, so brother's having this problem that a few people have had, where your browser is not allowing you to connect the mic and the camera. But actually, I've realized what this is now, because a few people have had this and I could never figure out why them and not others. So it could be an out-of-date browser thing. StreamYard, I think, is relatively new, I think. But that's actually what it actually could be. That's actually what it could be. So let's see if he gets through with that. If he doesn't, he was going to keep his camera off anyway. He was more comfortable with that. So what we might have to do is kind of do it the way that we've been doing it if things don't work out, and that is to just hold the phone to the mic on the stream, because nothing stops us, nothing can stop the time, as they say. So let's just give the brother a few minutes. Somebody jump on, who was there on Wednesday. I want a kind of parallel view of proceedings. It'd be really good if one of you guys could jump on. LB, I see you. Come on, man. Talk to me. I know LB's always good for a chat. Yeah. Just mashing some time until the brother comes on. Let's look at some comments if no one's coming on. I've just put the stream back in again, the stream link. Yep. Yeah. Whatever. Yep, I've put the stream link in. If anyone wants to jump on in the interim before our guest comes on, please do. Yes, man. Let some of the liquor troll them in so that they can have nothing to say. The same old tired argument. Madness. Okay. So I'm not sure brother's getting through with what he's got to do. Bit of a static moment. But yeah, my brothers and sisters, we keep on moving. Right, so it looks like brother's got through with the technology side of things. He's just connecting himself up, and he'll be in a few minutes. But you know what I find interesting, though, brothers and sisters, is we talked about it before, the pathology, and I think Hurricane Toya touched on it last week. The pathology of individuals that want to hide from the truth. We've heard murderers that say they're sorry and they show some kind of remorse. And she went through a whole list of people. I broke that down as well quite early on with these lives and what have you. And it never ceases to amaze me. And I think probably it's because the acts are so terrible. Maybe, I don't know. It is really the ultimate taboo with mankind, isn't it? What we talk about. So perhaps that's the reason for just this incessant cover up, to the point of these proceedings. So I'd love someone to do a study on it. Maybe I'll do a study on it. Maybe when I go to do my doctorate at some stage in my life, which is an ambition. It's on my bucket list. That's what I'll do it on. Why do perpetrators never ever own up for their wrongs? And always victim blame. Always, 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 always victim blaming. Desiree says that she sends up a prayer for more courage and more strength for any and all victims to come forward and speak out and get justice. Absolutely 100%. 100%. Because that's what we're here for. It's what we stand for. We're not here harassing people. No interest in harassing people. Now, harassment is quite personal, isn't it? There's always a motive, a personal motive behind harassment. You've kind of got to know the people to harass them. You're not harassing anybody. There's a thing called freedom of speech and expression, and there's a thing called fair comment. You know, thank you, Jamaica diaspora. Thank you very much. It certainly was a victory. There's a thing called fair comment. Thank you, moderator. Yes, Denise Bell. I don't remember unblocking her. Don't know what happened. I was reading something that Milan Paris was saying that I shout people down, and just, you know what? When you've got on a certain lens, you know, and you want to actually believe something, then that's all that you see. Because other people don't see that. Other people have seen me sit there while Kerry Mussington shouted at me. Other people have seen me sit there and say nothing while Jean Grey shouted at me and interrupted. Even that Deardes fella. And they still accuse me of not listening to him. For 1 hour, the man shouted at the top of his voice, interrupting me, doing whatever. And these people still said that I didn't let him talk. Go on in the yard, yeah. Go to your bed. My brother Jay. How are you, my brother?
I'm good.
Welcome to this time.
I'm good. Can you hear me clearly?
Can you hear me well?
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me?
Can everybody hear Jay? Put up a one if you can hear well. I know you're having some headphone issues.
Yeah, I should be connected to my headphones now.
Okay. You've kind of made his time is up history, my brother, to be the first man, the first male survivor to come onto the platform and actually tell your story. You know?
I appreciate that, Afua.
And you're coming through nice and clean. Everybody can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, perfect.
But yeah, we welcome you, my brother. We welcome you. And to be a pioneer to do that, because so many of our brothers do not speak out. I've been accused of hating black men by the more dysfunctional detractors. But it's definitely not the case. Definitely not the case. I really, really welcome your testimony tonight, my brother.
Thank you. Let me just get my notes. I'm always laughing at the people that can't connect, and look at me now.
Say again?
I'm always laughing at people who can't connect, and look at me that can't connect now.
Maybe you could do out a tutorial or something, because you actually figured it out. It took people ages to do that. I think it could be a phone thing with your browser on the phone, because I've said that they can get through on the laptop usually.
Everyone can hear me clear. You can hear me definitely clearly, right, Afua?
Yeah, you're coming through loud and clear.
Okay, sweet.
Just in your own time, we're all ears.
I can't believe I'm on here doing this, but yes, I'm going to do it.
There's nothing to be nervous about, my brother. You know that you always get love from our supporters, especially when you tell your story. So take your time, my brother.
This is true. So step one, I wanted to start with just saying, Afua, thank you for creating this platform, because I've been watching in the background for a very long time. And I've been inspired. I've been so proud of all the people that have come to support, all the people that have come on the live to speak, you know, because it's difficult, it takes time. Healing is a ongoing process, and we all know that it's very difficult to speak on these topics, especially when a lot of our families are not supportive when we are speaking about it. So yeah, thank you, Afua. As I said on the phone, I'm going to tell you that every time we speak. So yeah. Okay. So my story starts in primary. So this all started for me during primary school. So yeah, basically, I have a lot of cousins, and on this particular day, you know, I was with all my cousins and we was playing as usual. Normally would play family had and those kind of things, but on this particular day we was indoors and we started playing mummies and daddies. And from that moment on, during our play, our kind of interactions with each other seemed to get more and more and more sexual. Um, I was quite young, so I had no knowledge or understanding, like many of the victims or survivors, of what was happening or what was going on. But obviously, I knew that I had some sort of trust in my cousin, right? So I went along with it.
Mhm.
So I guess for me, outside of that, this affected me in a way whereby I became very touchy feely, I guess, for lack of a better word. I became very touchy feely with like friends and
Hold on
stuff
a
like.
minute. Hold on a minute. Can I just stop you? I'm so sorry to get into your thing.
No, it's fine.
I want to deal with Denise Bell. You
Okay.
absolute despicable, filthy animal. You filthy animal. I dare you to come onto this live with your bullshit. Now, I'm not having that. I'm blocking you from now. You will never show your face here again. And the reason you can't show your face and that you show your face to look like ET is because you probably look worse. How dare you? How dare you?
That don't bother me.
Filthy
That they
animal.
don't bother me. I've heard a lot worse,
They've
and
got
I've had a lot
nothing
worse done
about
to
them.
me. So
This boy, this man is about to tell his story and share his pain. And that's what you've got to say. You belong in the toilet with all the doo-doo. Blocking them. You're blocked.
oi.
Get me vexed up in here
Um
today, my brother. I've not even had my call for a while, you know. How dare
No,
you?
Afua, it's good. It's all good. It's all good. I'm fine. That doesn't bother me. That's very basic. If they was gonna cost, they should have cost better than that.
Go on, my brother. I'm so sorry to interrupt
So
you.
no, it's fine. It's fine. It's okay. So yeah, that meant that in primary school I became touchy feely. This expressed itself in me kissing people under the bench and whatever, whatever, and just not having any, I guess, boundaries. Because obviously at that point now I'm unaware that there are any boundaries. Um, so moving forward, because this particular okay, so this is one of the cousins that I encountered sexual abuse from. There's two. This is the younger one, and this is the situation that went on for about 4 or 5 years, um, maybe longer actually. So during this time, let me just make sure I'm going back to my notes. Okay, yeah. So during this time, um, there was a lot of outside things that were happening in my life. My dad was a very abusive person, so even though he didn't live with me for throughout my whole life, it had a knock-on effect on my personality and my confidence because ultimately his kind of his what's the word his motivation was for whatever reason to make me feel as small as possible. And because of that, I developed very low self-esteem and low self-worth. And yeah, I kind of withdraw through who I was and my personality, etc., and became very shy and quiet. Um, so during this time, I kind of at that point understood that no one really has my back and I can't really rely on anyone for any sort of support. So that meant that in my young mind that I believed that I was in love with my cousin, which was a lot to work through. That's one of the most difficult parts of the story for me to work through because obviously he's a guy. Um, I hadn't even got to a point where I've established what I'm attracted to or what I like. And it made me feel very dirty. And it took such a long time for me to remove that kind of shadow over myself. It really affected me. I'm like an empath. So naturally, things do affect me more than a lot of other people, right? So that is something that really took its toll on me and mostly my outlook on myself. I really seemed to believe that I was not a good person and I was shit and that I was just not worthy of anything. So that meant that in my mind, the only person that was nice to me was my cousin. Do you know what I mean? which sounds weird now, but that's how I know how I felt, and that's how I felt. So in the middle of that time, I also had another situation where another one of my cousins, the older one, also sexually abused me. I'm not going to go into detail, but basically the line was, "It tastes like a lollipop." Not to get too graphical, but that's what I was told. So yeah, I mean, it just went on for a long time, and I guess that the more it went on, the more it affected the way I viewed or understood love and affection and intimacy. And also, there wasn't, I guess, because I was so young, there wasn't really a point where, or a moment where I understood that my body is mine and that I have agency over it. Um, yeah,
Keep
so,
talking, brother. I'm going to turn my camera off for a minute, but I'm hearing you.
okay. Um, yeah, so so it got to a point where, yeah, like I lost myself, I guess, in my experiences. Um, so moving forward now to 13, 14, when all of this kind of stops, got in high school is, I guess, where I had the most turmoil, because I was old enough to understand exactly what had been happening and what had been going on. And you know understanding exactly what I engaged in, um and having to deal with not feeling like I could go to anyone to deal with that. Also having an issue whereby I'm really confused on what my sexuality is, who I'm attracted to, and what I'm attracted to, because when this abuse started, like, I was too young to even know. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't thinking about who's my girlfriend or who's my boyfriend. I was just thinking about, are we going to go and play somewhere, and who's going to bring the Haribos? Do you know what I mean? Um, so yeah, that's really when my problem started, and it meant that I became um, okay. So the thing that I had an issue with is understanding. Let me start again. I had the issue with separating intimacy and sex. In my mind, I believe that they were all together. So because obviously it felt good, um, I went out and I seeked that feeling. That led me to being in very dangerous positions, because I was a tall guy. A lot of people took advantage of that. I mean, everyone knew my age because I had a baby face. But there was a wealth of people who were ready to come and spend time with me and whatever, which is funny to me because I remember just how withdrawn I was, and I know that I would not be talking unless someone asked me a question. And if they did, I would answer the question, and that's the conversation finished. So the fact that I had all these people who were willing to, wanted me to stay over and all these things, and being in compromising positions where, like, you wake up now and someone's badgering you to have sex with them and you don't want to, but because you haven't understood the terminology of, no, actually, I'm going to go home because this is not what I want to do. In your mind, you're like, okay, well, this is what I have to do. Do you know what I mean? Um, so yeah, it just became a bit crazy for me, and it just led to so many other things. And ultimately, it was because I had a low view of myself. I didn't really feel like anyone around me was really addressing the fact that I had been broken by my experiences, not just the sexual abuse, but also being literally targeted by my dad in my household. Um, Things like, not, I know it's not about my dad, but I feel like it's important to just give a few pointers. Stuff like, he would come home, cook, and we would all sit at the table, and everyone would have a nice plate of food, and you will see that I got the smallest piece of meat, burnt or whatever, and everyone would have mashed potato, and I would get hard boiled potatoes. I'm laughing, but that used to cut me up when I was younger. Um, Things like money is left out for my brothers, and I don't get the money there. Um, yeah, he used to do things like he would like just be on my case, on my case, on my case, on my case throughout the whole day, and he would wait for my mum to walk in. And this is the point where now I'm like I'm blowing up now because you've badgered me for the whole day for no reason, because I wasn't necessarily a naughty child. I was a child, of course, but I wasn't an outrageous child. Do you know what I mean? Um, and then my mum's like, why is the boy acting like that? But obviously he knows what he's doing. He's manipulating the situation, because that's what he is, a manipulator. Yeah, so I mean, um, what do I want to go on to next? So yeah, I mean, luckily at whatever point, I mean, okay, so luckily my personality, I kept on trying. I kept on, trying and seeking my healing and figuring out what I should do, because with me, I never had I never had shame of going to therapy or seeking therapy um in the same way that I know other people do. Like in my mind, I was just like, if this is going to help me, I need to do that. It took me years to disclose this particular thing, a very long time. But I would say that it did definitely open up my eyes, and it gave me a different perspective, because throughout my life, I'd been dealing with my thoughts and feelings by myself with no insight from other people. And that's really damaging, because I'm thinking as a young person, I needed like someone who is more worldly and more has more wisdom than me to really be like, oh, I think this is a good idea. I think maybe you should rethink that, etc., etc. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think that throughout all of this, the most difficult thing has been not being supported by my family. Um, okay, in the most recent times of my life, I have felt support from people that have been close to my family, but generally, I have not had any support with my family with any healing, with any there's no one's ever come and asked me like, are you okay? Even nothing. It's just been, everyone knows, more people than I'm aware know as well. I only found this out recently. But there's been no one really like, oh, let me check on him and make sure he's okay, kind of thing. It's all been me and what I've set out to do, because I want better for my life. And I'm not going to allow someone to um not let me live to the fullest. I mean, it's not easy. It's not easy at all. Like, healing has to be done. I'm very thankful that I got to the point where I realized how important healing was, because I was very unbalanced. I was very angry. I couldn't sleep for years. I had IBS. I had so much things that manifested as a result of dealing with this trauma and not being able to express it. Um, yeah, so it's been a journey. I mean, yeah, it's definitely been a journey, is what I would say. Definitely been a journey. I'm just looking through my notes to see if I've missed anything that I wanted to say. Um, yeah. So one of my issues has been that I felt like my family were so willing to ostracize me for identifying as gay, and while still inviting all the people that sexually abused me to the gathering, to the house party, to all of these things, spreading rumors about my name that's not true. But because I don't have a relationship with certain people, obviously they're not going to speak to me about it, and all because I've spoken up and spoken out. I forgot to mention that I actually did address one of my cousins, even though um, a lot of people around me wanted me not to, which is crazy. But I did. I must have did this. I must have done this when I was about 19. And I was scared because, I was working on my confidence. One of the things I learned throughout my traumas is to be quiet, and being the assertive person who speaks out and speaks their truth has been really difficult for me. Even in my life now, like, I'm still having to learn that, there's no moment where you should compromise your happiness or not speak out. You have to speak out at all times and in all environments. And it took me a long time to understand and realize this. But now, thankfully, I've learned the lesson. But yeah, I approached my cousin, whatever. Um, I'm not sure what I was expecting. I think maybe I was a little naive, and I was hoping that after that moment, everything in my life would be amazing. But I later realized that I still have to continue with my healing journey. But I would say that I felt a sense of power for the first time in my life for a long time. I just felt like I was almost high on life. I felt really happy and really proud of myself that I did something that I was really scared of. But it didn't really change anything moving forward in terms of the family dynamic, because certain people were upset about me doing that. It's like from that moment they were on my case, which is just disheartening. Obviously, I was angry about it for a while, but ultimately it's really disheartening because, these are people that I've grown up with. These are people that, some of these people have wiped my bum when I was a baby, and to come and think that these same people are not here to support me, or, to show any sort of kind or care or kind of concern. I just felt like I was just pushed out by myself, and ain't no one behind me to come and help me. I had to come and save myself, which has been really difficult. It's not easy at all. Like, as we know, as victims, or sorry, I keep on saying victims, I mean survivors. As survivors, you have flashbacks. I think people, this is the sort of everyday thing that people sometimes forget. Like, we get flashbacks. You can have moments where, you're down, and then certain thoughts and feelings come back, and you have to navigate that. Do you know what I mean? Even more so if you're someone who has kids, especially a mother, because, anyway, let me not say that. But, if you're a mother, you have kids to attend to, and you're having to regulate yourself and also ensure that you're a good parent. Like, it's hard work. So yeah, also another aspect is, okay, so my sexuality. So before this happened, I was not even thinking about sex. I didn't even have a moment to kind of establish what it is I'm into or not into, or like or don't like. I know that at the time, I know that at the time, for years, I didn't actually believe I was into guys, but because I was comfortable, and I'm trying to describe this well because I know it might sound weird to someone who doesn't understand. Um, but so what I'm trying to articulate is that I didn't believe that I was gay or into guys, but because it was something that was comfortable to me, or something that I knew, it meant that I didn't have to deal with the anxiety of going out to approach women, etc., etc. And because also, like, my confidence was low, I was believing stupid. Let me not swear. Stupid stuff like, I'm not worthy enough, or I'm not attractive enough, or I'm not a man, or etc., etc. And this meant that I was just like, okay, well, whatever. I'm just gonna engage with guys. And at this point now, through a lot of things, through working on myself, through diving into my spirituality, I'm actually aware now that I actually wasn't born gay. That's actually not the case, and that my attraction to males comes specifically from my trauma. So I want to say that I'm not saying that because I have an issue with identifying as gay or not gay, because for me, that's so basic. At this moment in time, I'm trying to figure out how Black people are going to get their empire, so we don't have to worry about all the stupidness that we're worrying about now. That's where my mind is at. But yeah, like that 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 thing that's occurred has obviously triggered a lot of things, and because it has gone on for such a long time and I wasn't able to really get that understanding, etc., it meant that I believed I was that way inclined for a long period of my life. I now know that I'm not. Whichever path I go down now is whatever it will be, and I'm okay and happy about it either way. But I think that it's also important to understand that yes, being touched does have an effect on sexuality, but it may not necessarily be the only thing that has an effect on one's sexuality. And also, who cares? Like, at this point, we don't need to be doing competition of who's doing what in the bedroom and who's not doing what, because really and truly, we as Black people have so many things that we need to come and do in this world. We're the first people to walk this earth. So do you know what I mean? Who people have sex with is, in my mind, so minor. Obviously, you want to keep our race here, but I don't think, in my mind, there's never going to be a case where we could become extinct. It's not possible where I am, but I'm coming a bit off track here, Yeah, but I think I've covered everything I wanted to say. Um, I think do you have any questions, Afua?
I was about to. I was just going to let you finish because, well, first of all, I need to kind of just gather myself because you had me on the brink of tears just now, Jay, and I think
Oh,
quite a lot of other people as well. I wanted to backtrack a little bit.
of
I know you
course.
said that the focus isn't your dad,
Yeah,
but there was a catalogue of abuse against you.
yeah,
So
there
we
was.
had several older cousins who were all either having sex with you or attempting to have sex with you. And we also had your father.
Afua, sorry. Let me just interject one thing because I forgot this one point also.
Okay.
One of my cousins actually groomed me into also doing certain things with another cousin.
Yeah.
His words were, "You go and do this because he's not into it enough." So etc. etc. So that's
Hmm.
another dimension that I had to work through myself because I
Hmm.
took it out on me because I didn't actually realize that it's not actually. I mean, I take accountability for what I did, but I need to understand that it wasn't my choice. It was a choice that was outside of me. Do you know what I mean? And that guilt nearly took me, to be fair. It laid on my chest for a number of years of my life. It's only now that I'm actually able to work through and understand, do you know what, like, I was the child in this situation. I didn't,
Hmm.
do you know what I mean? I'm just thinking, this is my older cousin and he's cool.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So I
Because
just
you
wanted
you
to,
were still an abuse victim while you were being groomed to abuse others. So that doesn't make you a perpetrator, not at all. You
yeah,
know, we see that repeated pattern time and time again where children are used in videos and all sorts to do porn with each other or whatever. And that's
yeah,
kind of the ilk that it's in, right? Um, but I just kind of wanted to go back a little bit. We talked a little bit,
yeah,
didn't we, before now,
yeah.
about your father.
Hmm.
Um, and when you were talking about abuse as well, and being pre-sexualized by boys,
Hmm.
and the impact that you feel that must have had on your sexuality, that's quite a controversial subject. So I want to pick up on that in a minute.
Yeah,
Um, but I also want to kind of look at the connection between the abuse you were suffering sexually, and the interface between the abuse that you suffered physically and what
mm,
brought you to where you are, because it isn't just the sexual abuse
mm,
that pathologized you, that brought you to where you were in terms of your trauma and how you've had to work through it. Do
yeah.
you want to share a little bit more about the physical abuse that you had to suffer alongside the sexual abuse?
On the hand at the hands of my dad.
Hmm.
Um, to be fair, okay, so I know a lot of young people are like, "Oh my god, this person hates me," but in my mind, my dad hates me. I can't tell you what that is. In my mind, it's because I was a feminine child, and him being someone who was brought up in the Caribbean, he wouldn't fully understand or get how to deal with that, or how to understand that, or how to nurture me in a way that So I believe it's because he saw me as too feminine. Um, And yeah, I mean, there's days where I wouldn't even be walking properly in the house. I'll be there on my tiptoes because I'm trying to navigate my dad. Um, my dad, rather than, just telling me off or something, would sit there and stare at me for almost 10 minutes and make me feel small and uncomfortable. Just sit there screwing me. And, you know, like it got to a point where, like, even now I can see just how much my personality had changed from whilst I was a child. I used to be very withdrawn and quiet and shy, and I wouldn't say how I feel, and I wouldn't talk on my emotions or what I'm feeling. I used to just, there was a point of my life where I went mute and I just withdrew from all of my family. I spent time in my room. Um, like he it's like he just was waiting for a time to tell me off, make me feel small, hit me. Um, Even though my dad did hit me and that wasn't nice, I feel like he was more mental. He operated in the mental. He's definitely one of those manipulative kind of people. I heard him one morning talking to my brothers, talking about, oh, um, you need to you don't wake up your brother anymore. He's old enough. You wake and let him wake up by himself. But he never come and tell me that he said that to my brothers. I've heard it, but he's never told me. So I'm thinking, okay, so what you want me to do is come and argue with my brothers now for what? Um, but yeah, there was times where he wanted to push me on the floor, and I scraped all my leg on the hi-fi, and I'm there bleeding and whatever, scratch out on my leg and all these things. Like it was just like one thing after the other, and for whatever reason, no one kind of stepped in. No one seemed to be able to do anything about it. And also the thing that not killed me, so I don't want to say that, but the thing that really broke me in a way was the moment whereby I decided I was going to speak up. And when I say speak up, I'm not talking about these people that you see outside that start swearing behind their parents, because I wouldn't even be dreaming about that in my household. I mean, just saying, no, I don't agree with what you're saying, whatever, whatever, I would be shouted down and told to shut up. Even when I'm right. Do you know what I mean? Even when I'm right. So it got to a point where I was like, okay, so I'm just a shit person. You lot are right. I'm just gonna be your lot slave. Do you know what I mean? There was times where I used to come down and be saying good morning all 3 times just in case I didn't say good morning, and then my dad's gonna come behind me. Not that he used to reply when I said good morning. He just wanted you to say it to him. I remember on one of my birthdays, um, so I got a bit of chest because it was my birthday, yeah. And I was like, I'm not saying hello, good morning to him first. He better say it to me because it's my birthday. My guy wanted to shout behind me and whatever, whatever. This is when I was young as well. I was like a young boy. He wanted to shout behind me and whatever, whatever, because I didn't say good morning to him on my birthday. No present, no happy birthday, no nothing, no affection. He's one of them that used to play with everyone. Kid used to see my man smile and all these things. You never see him smile in the house with me and my brothers. Like, he was nasty. He was nasty. He knows. We all know.
Yeah.
He's pretending and doing this pretend business that he's doing with other people, but we who used to live in that household know exactly what that man is about, and so does God. So he can do whatever he's doing. Do you know what I mean?
I would say that that's the actual genesis of your self perception, even before the
Mm,
sexual abuse started.
mm,
You know, what would have happened is that the abuse would have kind of just reinforced that, which was
exactly.
already developing. And
Exactly.
look, can I ask you, where was your mother in this? I don't mean where was she physically. I know she was in the house, but what was her position in everything?
Um, Disclaimer. Let me just make one disclaimer. I'm not coming to bash my mum. I do love my mum. We don't have the best relationship at times, but I do love my mum. I feel like okay. I feel like my mum has been through some things and she wasn't allowed the space, the time to deal with them, get over them, address them. And that meant that she wasn't able to protect me in the way that maybe now she may feel that she should have, is what I'll
Mm,
say about that.
mm.
Because if he's doing that to me and my younger brothers, he's also doing that to my mum. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
It's not gonna. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, it was directed to me at me a lot, most of the time, but he was doing it to everyone in the house. So, do you know what I mean? Like at the time, I was like, oh my gosh, you see, my mum don't do nothing, and whatever, whatever, whatever. But if we all under the one roof, then my mum has to deal with his nastiness too.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? So
Mm.
that's all I can say about that, really.
Yeah.
That's all I can say about that.
And so you mentioned your sexuality, and in
Yeah.
your belief,
Hmm.
you wouldn't have been gay had those experiences not reached you, right? So
Agreed.
that's a massive debate, isn't it, in the gay community, and particularly the Black gay community. I
Mm,
know that debate very well, and it's a big debate. But I'm on your side of things because I actually believe that those are some of the fundamental reasons why a lot of people become gay. Um, some people they're not sexually abused and they're gay. That is a
mm,
different paradigm, in my opinion. When we're talking about people that have experienced early childhood trauma, childhood sexual abuse, how can it not have an impact? If you take a child
exactly.
and pre-sexualize them, that is actually going to be their view of sex and intimate relationships going forward, which you actually touched on as well. So I
Mm.
fail to see how you can rule that out. Um,
It's not even logical. We all know that environment, nature, and nurture has an effect on everything. So why would it not have an effect on sexuality? We all know that. We all
Absolutely.
know that. When often women at times can be attracted to people that are similar to their dad. Do you know what I mean? Because that's the first male they experience. Like, oh, I love you, dad, whatever, whatever. We all know that often um, men understand how to treat women based on the relationship they have with their mum. So this rubbish about, oh, we born this way, we born this way. I mean, ultimately, I don't even believe that the LGBT movement is for black people. I don't believe that it is, but
Mm,
it is what it is. That's my feeling. It's not created for us and it's not for us. That's why when we're in that community, we experience racism just like every
mhm.
other black person. Do you know what I mean? All of us,
But
just like every other black person.
this is the thing, isn't it? Because what happens is for Black gay people is that they go to the LGBT movement because they need to find a home, they need to
Hmm.
feel familiarity and what have you. And as you say, quite rightly, I've definitely seen that being around gay friends and stuff like that, the racism that takes place.
Mm.
And then they try to come home and we reject them. But like you said, we still invite the paedophiles to the cookout and the Christmas
Yep.
party. But we reject the brothers, the victims, much of the time, too much of the time. The percentage is so high um, of Black gay men and women who have been sexually abused. You
Nearly
know,
every friend I have who identifies as LGBTQIA, whatever it is, say that they have had some experience of with sexual trauma. Nearly every single one of my friends, and these
absolutely.
are these are also my straight friends, my gay friends, my lesbian friends. All of them, every one of them say they've had an experience with sexual trauma. And the sad thing is that hardly any of them say that they were supported with by their family in terms of dealing with the healing or whatever they
Hmm.
wanted to do next about the situation.
Hmm.
So you feel like you're at a crossroads, and that's a very scary place to be. Can you imagine like having that moment of you as a black person not feeling comfortable to be in certain areas? This is not a joke. Like people don't feel comfortable to go to particular areas
Hmm.
because of how black people carry on among their own black people. And to me, it's in my personal view, it's nothing to do with sexuality. It's just another form of self-hate, really and
Hmm.
truly. I feel
Hmm.
like we need to just be real. Some of us do not like our own skin, and we direct our anger to gay people because we feel like that's the people, that's the worst people on earth. So we're gonna, direct our hate to them, and it's really bullshit. It's
Of
really
course, it's
bullshit.
bullshit. But I never ever understand why it is that gayness is seen as being worse than paedophilia, because the
Yeah.
paedophiles do not get ostracized. The paedophiles are defended to the death.
You
You know,
know,
the paedophiles want to bring all kinds of actions to try to prove that they're not paedophiles, even though everybody knows they are. The
exactly that.
paedophiles just don't stop, but the community supports them. They cover them, they conceal them, they support them, they aid and abet them, they're complicit in their activities. And meanwhile, the victims, and I'm by no way saying that all black gay people are victims of sexual abuse, but we know that a high number are, as we've just discussed. So
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
victims, though, are ostracized and called sodomite and excluded. It's disgusting, you know. For those who want to work through those traumas and perhaps get to a point where they can actually discover their sexuality pre-abuse, you know, that might be something that they have a right to do. We should be accepting those people into healing. And for those that aren't able to do that or don't want to do that, that are comfortable in their position at the moment, albeit that it was a rocky start, what led them there, we need to
Hmm.
recognize our own is what we need to do. Because I'll tell you one
Exactly
thing,
that.
yeah, we really do. We really, really do.
I
Because
think there's so many other people that are like me. Sorry to cut you, Afua, but I really believe that there are so many people that are like me who've experienced sexual trauma and haven't got the right help or haven't, etc., dived as deep as I had, and they really believe they are this set one way, and it's actually not true.
mhm, absolutely.
Do you know what I
And,
mean?
you know, equally, just like the Bible, because that's what we
It's
tend
not.
to rest on
Hello?
when it comes to ill treating our brothers and sisters that are expressing in a different way.
Oh,
The
can you hear
Bible
me?
speaks very clearly about what went on in Sodom and Gomorrah, and it talks about homosexuality. Yes, it does, but it also talks about the paedophilia that went on in Sodom and Gomorrah. You know, all of these things are banned in the Bible, if you like. So if you know if you're
Mm,
going to deal with one thing, deal with it all, and actually have the sense and the insight to be able to look in and say, actually, pedophiles are creating a bigger problem in our community then, because like yourself, you said, you know, you didn't believe you were gay. It doesn't sound as if you had a comfortable journey into your sexuality. That's turmoil for you. um could you, nobody will ever be able to tell fully if you'd be able to, excuse me, escape that turmoil had you not been interfered with. Do you know what I mean?
mm.
So it's just a very interesting topic, isn't it? I can hear the LGBT community screaming right now because, you know, we're suggesting that they weren't born that this way. It wasn't nature, it was nurture. But it's a bigger conversation anyway. And I do believe it is nurture.
Yeah,
I'm
I just
definitely
feel
on the
like you
side of
can't
nurture rather
you
than
can't
nature.
apply that to everyone.
Sorry?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Afua?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, because on my side you're like I'm coming in and out, but okay.
Am I? My mic might be a
Yeah.
bit weak. Yeah.
No, I 100% agree. I just feel like everyone has their own individual experience, and we shouldn't just be taking on what we are told. It's for us to come and explore who we are and who we are meant to be at this moment in time. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And yeah, like I don't know. I don't know. I mean,
And
obviously
like, you
there's
know,
loads.
you are a child of God. You were put on this planet as a child of God. Um, for whatever reason, you know, the devil gained entry and brought
Mm,
to your door abusers, sexual abusers that would have an impact on your early sexuality. They
yeah.
pre-sexualize you, right? Um, it's just interesting to know where the church stands with that. Because once that, you know, is it that the church needs to kind of dovetail its belief system with just simple psychology? And then maybe there's an understanding there because, you know, or is God, are we saying God is absent of psychology? Because I don't think he is. I don't think the universe is absent of that to be able to understand how it is that a youth can end up expressing himself in a sexual way because of the trauma that he's experienced. It's not rocket science, is it?
Mm,
And actually, what it does is as well, it leaves people in one of two ways, doesn't it? One either becomes promiscuous with a member of the opposite sex because their abuser was a man, or because their abuser was a man, they withdraw and actually can only really tolerate women. And actually, we've had one of our other survivors that came on a while back, Sister Melrose, that broke that down to us as well. That was her experience. And the same with boys, you know, like you described being hypersexualized, you know, and
Yes.
that's how it left you. Had it been the opposite as a man in the black community, you might have been one of those ones that wants to bun every batty man and batty man for dead. And do you get it? So
Can you
you
imagine
know
if I was one of them
that
people?
talk is all about trauma as well. And I know too many of the ones that talk that way are scared that they're gay, because the same confusion that you felt over your sexuality in the past is what they live with
Yeah, yeah,
because of their
yeah.
abuse.
See, if we created more spaces to talk freely as a people, then we would have more ability to deal with the traumas that we have, not just sexual abuse, all of them. But for whatever reason, we don't seem to do that adequately, which means that people are left on their own to kind of gather their thoughts about how they should live their life. Do you know what I mean? And that's,
Mm-hmm.
especially as a young person, that's very detrimental.
Mm-hmm.
um Even like the feeling of, oh yeah, my community doesn't like me because I'm gay and I'm the worst person ever, and all this rubbish. Like, I had to work through that too.
Just
Do you know what I mean?
reinforcing your abuse, that kind of thing, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
just
I had to work
reinforcing.
through that too. And you take it out on yourself. I went through a period of being extremely suicidal whilst I was living at home. I used to pray every day that I wouldn't wake up because it just got too much for me. Like, I just wasn't happy. I didn't see how I was meant to function. I felt like I was on edge everywhere and with everyone. Even now, like now for me, I'm having to work on my idea of love because I learned obviously at a young age that love in ways can make you very vulnerable. And
Mm-hmm.
now I'm having to, work through that, pick it apart and understand that, love is many things. It's not just something that's negative. Do you know what I mean? Um, so, this is the aftermath of these situations.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just want to say again that, like, anyone who speaks out, I'm sending you love and healing energies. And if you don't feel comfortable to speak out, I'm sending you love and healing energies too. Because who's anyone to come and tell you when your healing time when your healing time is up? You do what you need to do for yourself. You take as long as you need, because I know sometimes in our community people wanna come and say, "Oh, you need to get over that," and whatever, whatever. No, you heal in the way you need to, and you take your time, because you didn't come. No
Exactly.
one come down here to suffer at all. We're not meant to be doing this. This is not why we came here to this plane. We didn't come here to suffer. Do you know what I mean? So
Um,
yeah,
Sister LB says there are spaces for black same gender attracted people to discuss whatever they desire. Get at her. So hit her up for that, because she's going to know
oh, okay,
a lot more about that than I would. That might be a good thing. I'm happy that's there.
okay,
Militant One says
perfect.
that not all men who are abused are gay. Um, of course not, Militant One. That's just
Yeah, we never
obvious.
said that.
It's obvious, but that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the vast majority of gay men who have been abused. That's
Yeah.
what we're talking about. So there is a difference. So, um, as I say, it's an interesting one, and not everybody feels the same. That the LGBT community is split on that. For some
Yeah.
people, it's that experience. For some people, it isn't.
Agreed.
What I'm
Agreed.
looking at, or what I'm interested in looking at, is the percentages. Do you know what I mean? That are, and like you
Mm,
said, all of
mm.
your friends have.
Yeah.
Majority of the people that I've counselled who are LGBT have as well. So it's
Let
just
me
interesting.
also just
Somebody
add
should
in
do a
there
study
that,
on it. Yeah.
sorry, Afua. Let me just add in there that these people who now identify as LGBT, most of them have been abused by people who do not identify as LGBT. They're
Right.
normally abused by people who identify as straight.
Yes, that's true.
Do you know what I mean? So I
That's
feel like
true.
people need to also take that into account, because anyone I've spoken to, it's never been a gay person that's abused them, ever.
That's out as gay and living as a gay person and whatever.
Exactly.
I get you. And that isn't to say
Exactly.
that doesn't happen. You get gay paedophiles, straight paedophiles, lesbian
Of course. Of
paedophiles,
course.
of
Of
course.
course.
But absolutely, absolutely, because the man who is with his repressed sexuality is going around having sex with the children around him, more often than not has got a wife and kids and
Yep.
tries to go on like he's an upstanding member of the community, right?
Yep.
Exactly.
Exactly
Or
that.
he's some big chest yard man that just like, espouses the whole Batman for dead narrative the minute his eyes open. It's that kind of guy that is doing
Ex-
these kinds of things much of the time in our
Yeah.
communities.
Yeah.
This duality has got to stop. It really, really has. And the casualties are our children, our boys. My heart was tearing out of my chest, Jay, when you were talking, because I was just thinking of my one son, you
Mm,
know, and I was also thinking of all the other sons out there who will not speak out because it isn't
mm,
manly to speak out, because
mm.
nothing supports the boy to speak out, right?
Exactly.
You are an
Exactly.
amazing, amazing young man. You're an amazing example. And the way that you're able to articulate your pain is really a gift. Your calling is to help others. It really, really is. That's
Yep.
why I thought it
It
was important
is.
for you to come on and tell your story today, because
Yeah.
a lot of people here, not a lot of people, there are some people who come to this platform because they want a Friday evening popcorn moment. So
Mm,
they want the names, they want the exposés, the pictures, or whatever, so they can troll and do whatever. And it isn't always about that, because this space is about people telling their story. So your camera's off, you're not calling any names, you just need to talk and squeeze that bump in a
yeah.
safe environment, and that's okay. That's
100%.
what this platform is actually about. You've epitomized that tonight. You really, really
Thank you.
have.
I appreciate that so much.
But in terms
Appreciate
of
that so much.
where you're at now, you're in a very empowered position, aren't you? You're strong. Uh, you are supported as well. You've got a really good support system there, haven't you? Or an individual at least. Do you want to tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about how important that is as well, especially in a family
Yeah.
that didn't believe you or didn't support you?
Um. So I'm just gonna speak about me, so no one feel offended by the way I articulate myself, because I'm not trying to offend anyone. But I know that for me, dealing with these traumas by myself really affected my psyche negatively, because I was thinking out of a younger mind's or younger child's mindset, and there was no one to really shed light on that, or to tell me, no, this is, it's another way, or no, that's nothing to do with you. That guilt is not yours, or you're taking on the trauma of the situation. Pass it back to the person who did it to you, etc., etc. Like, it's at those days where I didn't have that support, it was extremely difficult. I went through periods of having jobs, and after 3 months, I couldn't carry on because my mental health took hold. I went through periods of having issues with my mental health, and people in my family are minimizing, so I'm not even wanting to seek the help that I need. Um, I'm believing that the way I deal with this is through having sex with people, because in my mind I learned that that was the way that I got my sort of happiness. Later, to realize that actually what I required was intimacy, and just a supporting person who was around me, who can guide me. Um, so now I come to a place where I have, a few people that are supportive of me, and are with me in terms of speaking out and want me to share my story, and really get to the nitty gritty with me in terms of what happened and how I can heal and how it feels, and all these things that I'm only able to do now. As a older man, not
Mm.
older man, I'm not old, but um, but yeah, like, it just, I'm gonna say that it's amazing, and even you guys being very supportive or speaking to me, asking me if I'm okay, like, these are things that I wasn't able to receive as a young person. So it means so much to me when someone is even like, "Oh, are you okay? Do you need anything?" Just little things like that can heal people so much. So yeah, I give thanks, and I'm very happy, and I'm very proud. I had to do so many meditations. I had to do my breath work before I came and did this live, because I know sometimes my anxiety gets the best of me. So yeah, I give thanks, and again, I thought I'm going to keep on saying that I give thanks for you making this platform, because we need it.
Mm-hmm.
We actually need it. We need it, and we it's required for our healing. And I know that I can say for me, where I started with watching the lives is a completely different place till now, because I never thought that I would actually speak publicly. I knew I was going to come and help people. That's always been the case, but I never thought it would be me that would come and speak publicly about me. Yeah, like it's.
You have told your story superbly, with
Thank you.
such poise,
I appreciate it.
and your calmness as well. You're clearly a survivor. You're clearly a survivor. You speak like a
Thank you.
survivor. Everything about you, your tone, your choice of words. You are a survivor, my brother.
Thank you. Thank you.
I want
Thank
to
you.
salute you. I want to say well done.
Yeah.
As a last word, what would you say to other young men like yourself that are carrying this burden, this shame? What would you say to them? What's the one piece of advice that you'd give to them?
Oh, the one piece of advice. Oh gosh. The one
That
piece of
one piece of
advice.
advice can be like a paragraph. So
A big one. Okay.
yeah.
um. Okay. So number one, you have to understand that you need to go on that healing journey. Um. It's something that it's I mean, there's no other way for me to say it. You have to go on that healing journey. You can't live in the prison of your things that you experienced in life. And that's not me trying to minimize. That's not me trying to say, oh, when it comes to a year, then you should be. But no, I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying that in this life, you need to choose your healing. Why? Because you deserve to be happy. Even me, I didn't know I was allowed to be happy. I didn't think that I was worthy of being happy. No, that's bullshit. You come and get your happiness. That's number one. Number two, find a person. Hopefully, you have someone in your life that you feel safe with, you feel comfortable with. It doesn't have to be family. If it's not family, it's a friend. If you don't have a friend, find a support group. If you don't have a support group, I don't know, you have to find something where you can have that outlet, because it's not fair on you. It's not fair on you to keep that inside. And that's any
Mm,
trauma. It's not fair on you to come and live in misery because of what you experienced in your childhood. No, it's not fair. Um, and also, just remember that even, sometimes you might get lonely, sometimes you might get sad, sometimes you might get angry, you might get upset, and all of those are fine. You're allowed to be all of those emotions. I would say just remember, God is always with you. There's never a time that he, she, whatever you want to say, he or she, whatever you want to say, is not with you. Your
mhm,
people, your ancestors are always with you, and they're rooting for you. They want the best for you. Um, so even in the moments where you feel like you can't take it anymore, just remember God has got your back, and that's one person in life that will forever have your back. Do you know what I mean?
mhm,
Always, always, and forever. Um, so yeah, and also you got this. You got this. Take your time. Be kind to yourself. Don't let anyone dictate to you what your healing looks like. If you want to go in
mhm,
the garden and skip, you go in the garden and skip. I just recently started painting. I didn't know I could paint, but I'm painting because it helps me calm. It's therapeutic for me. Do you know what I mean? It
mhm,
means that I can express myself, get my emotions out. So everyone needs to find their thing that they can do that brings them happiness. That's just something they can do. It doesn't have to be include anyone else. Just find something that can bring you your own happiness, and that's the start of your journey. Take it step by step. Give yourself time. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's
excellent,
my things
excellent.
list of things that someone should
No,
do.
no, that is just amazing advice. Honestly, amazing advice, and hopefully, your story tonight will set the tone for other brothers to come forward as well.
I
You
hope
know,
so. I hope so. There's
and
no
you know,
shame.
you've got
There's no
this.
shame.
You've definitely got this, and you're very clear about
Mm,
how you want to go about things and what you want to do. So,
yeah,
you know, well done, my brother. Well done,
definitely.
and thank
Love and
you.
blessings to everyone on the live. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it. Sending good energies out to everyone. You're heard, you're listened to. Remember, I said God is with you at all times. Talk to your God if you're stressed. Talk to your God if you're happy. So yeah, again, thank you, Afua. It's
Thank you, my
appreciated so
brother.
much, so much. Um,
We'll talk. We'll talk.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you,
definitely,
bro.
definitely. Thank you,
All right.
thank you.
Blessings.
Okay.
What an exemplary young man. What an exemplary young man. He's such a lovely guy, honestly. Really, really is. Like I said to you guys earlier, I really felt a maternalism towards him when I met him. And he came to the court as well. You know, can you believe it? He came to the court and he represented, even though he was in pain with a backache, he really stormed the cold and came through. So yeah, he's a little sweetie. So yes, my brothers and sisters, I saw the thing set. I saw the thing set. You know, really glad to hear from the brother though. Um, and as I said, I really, really, really encourage any man. It doesn't matter how old you are. I know he's a young guy, so he's probably going to be a little bit more open to sharing his stuff. But there's big men out here, you know, big man, big grey men that have experienced this thing and have carried a lifetime of burden and shame. And it does affect the way you are. It does affect you going forward. So I just want to encourage all our brothers to come forward and speak their truth. You know, there's a whole new can of worms over there that we don't even know. As Lioness Keek says, yeah, he's RJ now. He's definitely RJ. Um, yeah, he's RJ. But yeah, if anyone wants to come on and talk about anything that they've heard tonight, anything that's affected them, please do. Here comes the link again. If you want to talk about what's been happening with these court proceedings, give me your opinion, please do. There's the link again. Put it up on the screen. Moderators, do your thing. Other than that, I'm going to bid you good night because it's just been a long week. It's been a long old week. I'm sitting and perching and watching to see what happens next, actually. Because if these people are foolish enough to bring a defamation case, then it is literally all systems go. It literally, literally is. Jump on the stream if you want to chat. As always, I know the moderators have been busy, but please keep giving, please keep funding. The more that we build up is the more that we can do. And certainly if these people bring a defamation charge, I am definitely going to need a barrister. I would prefer that. And something tells me, you know, if they really go for it, they're probably going to try and bring the best they can get. So we need to be able to do the same as well. So please, 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 my brothers and sisters, keep supporting the movement so that we can support the community. That's what time it is. So yeah, let's give it a couple more minutes. No one jumping on. The link's been there. If you were inspired by Jay's story, come on and talk about it. You know, it's a big deal in our community. And as we've said before, brothers just won't be speaking out. They just don't do it. And is it a wonder that they don't? You had that Denise ET person. The first thing that come to her head when the brother was about to share his absolute truth was that he's a queen. That's why. That's why so many of our young brothers and sisters are killing themselves because they have a hostile community that just don't get their pain. Well, I'm not having any of it, not on this platform anyway. This platform is Black LGBT and all LGBT friendly and all people friendly. It's not just a Black platform. We are Black people sitting here talking about our dirty laundry. That's why we make the references to our community. But the platform is open to absolutely everybody that wants to share their truth and that wants to highlight paedophiles and perpetrators in their community. That's the purpose of this platform. And we ain't out here harassing nobody. And the judge agrees. And to all the trolls, the haters, the doubters, the enablers, the detractors, what you're saying now? We've been recognized as not being the things that you say we are by the High Court, by the Queen's Bench at the Royal courts of justice. So let's keep on fighting, my brothers and sisters. Not about any one thing. That's right. I saw it set. Somebody says I saw it set, sister. Reva says I saw it set, sister. I saw the thing set. I saw the thing set. Truth and right, shut your mouth. All of you, shut your mouth. Yeah, but let's keep raising, my brothers and sisters. I'm tempted to really go in and gloat the ass off this thing, but you know what? I ain't gonna bother with them. I ain't gonna stoop to their level. But it does sweet me. I ain't gonna lie, it sweet me. And to be honest with you, you know, this is what I said. I said it all along. Bring it to court. Then you'll see. And I think they actually have. They actually have. They've been awfully quiet tonight. Where's Jean? Big talking Jean. If I was them, I'd sack her or do something with her anyway. But they sent her. So, you know, is you go throw down the gauntlet, you know, Jean Grey. You threw down the gauntlet, Jean Grey. And look where it's got you. You had big talk, you know. Big talk. I beg you, come on, LB. I want to hear you talk. Come on, LB. Come on and join me. She's not been around ever since things started unfolding, you know. But like I said, if I was them, because according to her, this is what she said, is that she'd been privy to conversations that day, and you know, she'd been on to defend it, the family name and what have you. And yeah, she whether she was self-appointed or sent, I believe she was sent, she became the spokesman for it, you know? Yeah, she became the spokesman for it. So what you saying now, Jeannie? Jeannie, sweetheart? What are you saying? Yeah, I will gloat. I will gloat. Because you know what? I just think back to all the statements and the witness evidence that I've heard. You know, there's so much more that I haven't shared. And I won't do unless there's a defamation case, actually, or an arrest or a criminal proceedings, which we're working towards. So I'm not going to share it here. I've always said that. There's only a certain amount that the public will actually be privy to in case of proceedings like this and in case we ever get anything to court. Sorry, LB, so you're saying, how do you link in? Join the link, copy and paste the link, which we always put in the browser. I'm going to put it in again right now. You just copy and paste it and then jump on it. That's how you do it. Try this something. Yeah, I'm posting it, Keith, when my laptop decides to give me copy and paste, because it likes to do this quite a lot. Always at the most crucial times as well. There we go. Right, jump on that link, LB, if you want to come on, sister. There it is right there. It's back on the screen. But it's that link there that I've literally just put in the chat. So if you look in the chat, it's fresh. And you can jump on that one. Hey, there we go. There we go. There we go. Yes. Super supporter.
That call was jokes. Good evening.
Would you say that call was jokes? You mean Jay's?
It was jokes. Remember, you know, Afua, they were the first people to take you to court.
Oh, the call. I thought you said the call. I was going to say.
No.
Okay.
Also, I'm getting feedback on this, man. How?
Could it be because you've still got the live?
No.
You might have to mute it.
Are you getting feedback, Af?
I'm not getting feedback at all.
Oh, what do you do? Hold on, my friend's gonna deal with this. Yeah. Oh, you know, I know. We want. But I can't. No.
You have to. You have to mute
Is
the
that
live.
better?
You see where
Is
you've
that
been
better?
watching? Yes.
Right. When it fantastic at the court.
Yes, it was.
I think you should gloat, and not just. It's not even a matter of gloating. You won what you won. Do you know what I mean? Because Jay, first of all, I want to big up Jay. That was incredible. I didn't hear all of it because I was at work. I left. Can you return it this way? Sorry. Can you hear me, Af? I'm sorry.
I can hear you.
Right.
We can hear you.
I think you dealt with it so responsibly. Everything that was happening that day, and really, it's a really important win because it means that other people have that trust in you, and they can come on the platform and talk about what it is they're talking about without worrying about harassing people, because nobody's actually trying to stalk anyone. Or this is about legitimate historical sex crimes. This is what this is about. And it's really important that it's time people start speaking up and having the courage to do so. Look at Jay. I couldn't believe a lot of what he was saying, but I'm so proud of us as a collective and so proud of you as an individual, Afua, because it's, you know, you have some people believing that it's some savior syndrome that's going on out here, but it's not that. You're just facilitating the thing. You feel me, Mama? You're just facilitating the thing, and we needed this in the community to do, and I'm so proud to be a part of it. Sadly, you know, the way I'm a part of it is not the way I would have liked, but I think those things that have happened to me has really, they've caused me to be who I am, so determined and just doing what I'm doing out here genuinely. Do you know what I mean? I don't really have much to say because you don't know how I feel about this situation already. What really annoyed me was the fact that these people thought they could just come and take control because they got a little bit of money, they got a bit of a pile. And at court, when they tried to surreptitiously speak to me as if them and I were friends, that annoyed me too. But it's cool. It's when I say for now, the interim part is over. And I just think when it's not a matter of gloating, the fact is, it is what it is. You did what you did at court the other day, and you did it with panache. You did it with integrity. And I'm so proud of you for doing that. So that's really all
and you observed all of the just to let people know that LB was in the number of 12 or 13 people.
I was sat right next to you, sis. So you remember?
You were my clerk, kind of turning the papers and finding the references, weren't you?
Well, I was trying to stifle a lot of laughter. I was trying to stifle a lot of laughter because I could hear a lot of shuffling of paper. Sorry, I was like, right, well, go on. But
and do you want to describe your experience when you when the court first started and the kind of conduct of certain people and whatever?
Okay, so you mean when we entered and then myself and the young lady went to the toilet, you mean?
No, you were actually in the courtroom and certain people entered.
Yeah, well, when they entered quite unceremoniously, you know, it just came in, nothing really happened. But they seemed to be hell-bent on disrupting the whole proceedings, you know, just
you're going a bit quick. I'm talking about the matriarch of the group.
Oh, when she met me downstairs, because I mean, she was the one that told me we're the first to ever take her to court because it's an important thing. But I think it's about reputation. It wasn't anything to do with harassment.
Well, the judge said that actually, didn't he?
Yeah. Remember, I'd left to go to work through, but I don't know if I was there at that time.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was all about reputation. But for me, you already know how I feel about this situation. That woman, I mean, I can understand she feels away because of what's been going on. I would feel disgusted.
Totally, especially as an older lady. But
yeah, she knows the truth.
It's not really the conduct of a Christian woman, is it? Of that age?
Is she Christian?
Well, there was some scripture in hand, so I assume, yeah.
Scripture?
Yeah, she was kind of present with scripture and stuff. So
I didn't really pay much attention to them after I came into the room. What I am proud about, though, is that the daughter or sister or whoever the woman was that was with that person or those people did say before, while we were downstairs when they were sort of talking to me without me knowing who they were, that all they want was the truth to come out, and we got that day. So I'm really happy that she blessed the case. Yeah, I'm really, really happy about that. Hear what? I'm sweating loads, and I'm with a really lovely woman. And I was gonna turn the phone around, but
don't worry. I know you're at work, LB. I just wanted a kind of first-hand account from somebody who's actually there, apart from myself. Basically, so that people
I'm so proud of you, Afua. Just keep going. Don't be perturbed. Just keep going. We need you there. We're proud of you. We're proud of all of those people who represented the other day, because it was a small number, but it was a very mighty crowd. It was a mighty presence there. And thank you again for doing that. So whenever you're ready to cut me off, you can cut me off. Yeah? And I'll speak to you again differently. All right?
Yeah.
All right. Take it easy, babes. Thank
LB, super LB, member of the cause. Yes, man. So sister out there. Yeah. So yes, blessed love, my brothers and sisters. I think we're all talked out. We're over 2 hours. That's been lives haven't been as long as this for quite some time, actually. But yeah, man, very interesting time. As LB said, it was a very small collective, but a very powerful one indeed. And each and every person that was there was meant to be there. Each and every person had a purpose there in their own individual right, and it was a very special day from that standpoint, you know. But yeah, big up yourselves, my brothers and sisters. I'm taking it nobody else is going to come on and have a chat. I'm tired. You probably are as well. It's Friday night. The week has been long. We keep on moving. We are not to be deterred, you know. As Ephesians chapter 6 says, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high and low places. Therefore, put on the whole armor of God. You understand? And I could go on. But right now, we're working with that. We're going to keep on praying. We're going to keep on fasting. We're going to keep on building. We're going to keep on asking for support. And hopefully you guys will keep donating. Because if that day comes, as I said, and I believe it probably will quite soon, judging from what these people were saying, then we're going to need to be as prepared as we possibly can. You know, it was a bit of a rush the last time because it was literally kind of 5 days for preparation, which you guys couldn't have known that last week, that literally on the Friday when we went out and they hadn't won the emergency injunction, so we were able to broadcast Friday. We were already preparing to go to court for the Wednesday, literally a few days later. But here we are victorious, my brothers and sisters. Let's keep the momentum going. As I say, if I haven't got back to you already, or if I haven't kept in contact with you as robustly as you would like, I'm one person in the tech time with me. I'm trying as much as I can. And at some point I will be in touch. At some point I definitely will. And definitely to the sister that complained as well. I haven't been at the moment because you know what, sis, if you're watching, I was dealing with police. I was dealing with court case. I had to get my stuff in order. I didn't have the mental capacity to take on whatever your gripe was about. And you know it, you know that as well. So I haven't got back to you. I haven't even looked at what you're dealing with, but that's not because I'm dissing you. It's because I am full. Okay, I am full. Is anyone saying that this Denise has come back under a different name? Is that what's happening? Somebody's saying, who's this Molly person? I know Molly is one of their trolling ass people. You did not bring a lot of the evidence you said you had. I didn't need to bring everything. Come with the defamation, seeing as you were there. So I don't know which one of you that is, but I know who was there. And my people were there as well. I don't need to show my full hand right now. Yeah, I do not need that. Because as the judge said, when the other party tried to file defamation on the spot because they didn't have the good sense to come with that in the first place. Judge said, no, we're not dealing with that right now. You want to come with an injunction under the Harassment Act, let's deal with that. Don't meet the threshold for harassment, not granting your injunction. But he was satisfied that what I did bring gave the movement efficacy, because I brought enough evidence of that, and also that there are sources there that are willing to come to court who have given their evidence. He was not there to determine truth or untruth. In fact, he asked the other parties if they were trying to avoid the truth by coming with the proceedings that they had. Yeah, that's how it went. So whatever your people them tell you, that's how it went. And I've got nearly 15 witnesses to say that's how it went. So chat what you know. I don't know which one of them it is. And I've actually seen as well, because I've been very careful not to actually go too much into the crimes and stuff like that at the moment. We're biding our time at the end of the day and watching the play, if you like. But Yvonne Clark's daughter's been all up in my DMs at the moment, making comments, doing what she does. You're not innocent in this. And I spared your story, young lady. Yeah, because at the end of the day, I actually see you as a victim. You're quite damaged. But clearly you don't see yourself that way and you want to be a perpetrator of all these things that you're doing. I haven't contacted you directly. I haven't been up on your DMs. I'm not harassing you. You're harassing me. But I will say break up your folly ground, because if defamation comes through, then we really are going to be talking about you quite a lot. So please keep off the comments. I haven't troubled you. I'm entitled to come onto my platform. You guys put me through an experience of police at my door, dragging me up to the High Court, and a bag of things and lots of nasty comments and untrue things about me in my comments. So please stop harassing me, because I certainly am not harassing you. I'm talking about the topics that we talk about on this platform, and I'm entitled to do so. Okay. No decorum. Absolutely, my brother. No decorum. Brothers and sisters will tell you. But yeah, not even coming on your normal. This is what I'm saying. Come in front, back your argument. We have a debate. I didn't cuss you off the last time you were here, did I, Dean Gray? We had a conversation, you know? Come and have the conversation. You had a lot to say before. If you want to hide behind fake profiles and say more, that just shows how pathetic you are at the end of the day, and the fact that you don't have an argument. You never did. But anyway, my brothers and sisters, I'm going to go and do what needs to be done on a Friday night. Shalom, my sister Tracy. And yeah, let's just keep it moving. I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful weekend. I'm certainly going to be still riding on the crest of victory and feeling good about the result and knowing that, as I say, our platform was legitimized. Whether that was inadvertently or not, it was legitimized, because if it wasn't, we would have been slapped down very quickly by that court. And we certainly weren't. The court agreed with us. It agreed with our argument and found in our favor. So there you are. Thank you, my brothers and sisters. Thank you again. I shall see you again next week. Next week, I want to talk a bit more about Andrew Bonnick, who we called out last week, and what's been happening with that. I want to update you about Peter Bailey and perhaps one or two others. But this is a long old road. It was never going to be quick. I hope for those of you that are regular, that you understand and that you see that this process is a process, and there is no kind of limit as to how long it takes or can't take. You know. So yes, I am gonna go and eat. Actually, I don't know about going out for dinner, but I'm definitely gonna go and scoff my face now, my brothers and sisters. So have a wonderful weekend. Please stay strong and stay blessed. All of you that watch, all of the His Time Is Up family, all the victims that have been in the bushes that want the courage to speak out, please feel encouraged. And brothers, please feel encouraged by our brother Jay and his story. So yes, blessed love, people. Blessed love, and have a fantastic week. I'll see you next week. Take care.